Radu. Welcome to Kahnawà Podcast, episode 23. I'm your host, Abigail Jacobs, joined today by Workforce Development Program Manager, Drake D'Souza, and the program's assistant, Tyler Amy Standup. Y'all go for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
This is the team behind Dewatunitzakta's 2026 Kahnawà Summer Student Employment Program. Now, the last time that we spoke, we were preparing for employer registration to participate in the program. Today, we're talking about student applications. What types of student jobs are available this summer and typically available in KSSEP?
Yeah, so this summer we actually have 69 approved positions for KSSEP. As you may know, we have a range of jobs from high school positions all the way up to graduate and university level positions. So where the high school positions tend to focus more on those intro to employability skills, we have a lot of maintenance positions, cashier positions, serving ice cream over the summer, a lot of fun things like that. But we also have some more specialized ones that are open to the high school students. For example, the Eastern Door wants a communications assistant. They're open to people of all levels, or even MCK with their GIS assistant and technician. There's a lot of a range of opportunities available starting at the high school level. And then, into the CEGEP and universities where we tend to see more career focused based on their educational path. But it's really great to see each year, we get a ton of new applications from various different employers. Mm-hmm. Some of them that we're seeing for the first time. And then we have those staples that, we've seen in the community year after year. Some back to when we were in KSSEP, the step-by-steps and the Dairy Kings of the community.
And so how did the employer selection go this year? Where, you said we have officially 69 jobs on the list. How many applications did we get? What kind of different things were we seeing?
So for KSSEP annually, we receive over 100 requests for positions. Wow. So really what we do is we try to narrow that down into our limits of funding. Yep. And what we do is we build a committee of people with various backgrounds from the education center. Mm-hmm. Even here at DEWA, we bring in people from our business services team, a BSO, business services officer, as well as people within our workforce development team to kind of see all the various angles of our business community, of the organizations, of grassroots businesses, see how they could support the students through our representatives from the education center. And what we do is we really focus on various things that were mentioned in the first podcast about, is it contributing to local economic development? Mm-hmm. Is it providing those developmental skills for the high school students, or those career-focused skills for the university students? This year, we also had an added emphasis on integrating language and culture within the position. So we saw a few of the positions really gear focused towards that as well.
Beautiful. Oh, that's so exciting. And we have Tyler Amy with us.
Hi.
And can you tell us a bit about your position this summer and why you're here with us today?
So this summer, I'm the youth programs assistant and programs assistant here at DEWA. And I'll be helping guide all the youth with their summer jobs and helping them with all their applications and any questions that they have to support them.
Wonderful. So can you walk us through the requirements that students need before applying? Are there ID numbers and different things that they need? And what kind of support are we giving them to collect all of these aspects?
Yes, so before applying, students need a few important things ready, like their social insurance number, band number, a resume, and if they're entering a new program in school, of course, a letter of acceptance. Ooh. They also have to complete the online KSSEP student application and then apply directly to jobs once the listings are released, which the job lists are released now, so they could start applying. There is support available as well. Students can access resume and cover letter resources online, and they can reach out if they need help, so they're not expected to go through the process all alone.
Nice. And what are some of the eligibility rules? Now, we have, as you mentioned, we have high school students or students who are all the way in university and really looking at career-directed paths for their summer employment. What should students know about determining which category they fall under when they're registering?
So the eligibility depends on a student's current education status. The program includes high school students, graduates, entering a post-secondary, CEGEP students, university students, and also Radiniwanirats. There's a different letter for them, but they're still included.
Nice.
And the key thing is that students need to be continuing their education in the fall. So whether you're returning to school or starting a new program, that determines your category. If students are unsure, they should double check their status or reach out to either me or Drake for clarification.
Okay. And how are students completing their registrations? And you said we covered everything that they need, all of their ID numbers and their resumes and letters. And you mentioned, you apply through KSSEP and then again through your employer. So how are we applying to our KSSEP program?
Well, they go to dewa.ca/KSSEP, and there's the student online registration form. And if they need help with it, they could also contact us for more information.
And as you mentioned, it connects back to the employers because as a student, you should know that when you do fill out this form, you end up on a student eligibility form that we send to the employer so that when they are conducting interviews or looking at who to hire, they have to ensure that this student is eligible for the program. So by pre-filling out the form prior to reaching out to the employer can confirm that you are eligible and then offer you an interview and potentially the position.
Wonderful. And what are some of our best practices? What are some tips and tricks for students who are preparing their applications and getting ready for these interviews?
Yeah. So as we mentioned, the job list is out there now, so they are free to explore all that they want. Really, I recommend applying early. It shows that you're taking that initiative, that you're excited about the summer, that is one of the positions that you really covet and want to do this summer. Research the employer or the position. Look at kind of the impact that they're having on the community. What are some projects that they've done over the last little while? Familiarize yourself with that and identify practical examples within your own life that you can bring into that interview. Even if it is your first job, there's plenty of experience that everyone has in life, whether it's through sports, with family, at school. You can really look at ways that you've taken leadership, worked within a team, or just showed responsibility in any area of that life. And, bring that to your employer, bring that to the interview, and you'll really kind of demonstrate that character that they're looking for. But also, as Tyler Amy mentioned, there's tons of support even in preparing your CV. So even on the KSSEP website, we have some different templates that people can explore there and edit for themselves. But even here at Dewa Dunizakta, if people are unfamiliar, we do have our employment counselors through workforce development that are always super helpful in preparing people with their CVs and even some interview prep.
Great. And once students are into their jobs, what can they expect being part of the KSSEP program? Are they expected to start doing paperwork with you guys? And what do they have to do as a student part of the KSSEP program?
So there's a number of different things they can do. As we mentioned, the priority is just for them to really enjoy their experience as within their position with their employer. But there are also added benefits, one of which being the workshops that they get to participate in that Tyler Amy's been doing a fantastic job at planning. So I'll let her kind of expand on what they can expect this summer.
So this summer, we're doing it a bit different than other summers. We're doing cultural-based workshops. So I've been working very hard to prepare all of them and make sure they're fun for everyone and the students. So there's going to be 5 workshops offered, but the students will only need to attend 1 this year instead of 2 like in previous years. And students can expect things like cultural-based activities, little sneak peek, including beading or learning basic Ganyegeha. The goal is to really help students connect more with their culture while also gaining meaningful experiences while doing the program.
Awesome. Thank you for planning all of those. And as part of a student becoming accountable with their employer and, of course, participating in the program, they are required to submit weekly timesheets. Why is this level of accountability important, not just for them, but also for us?
So they're required to keep weekly timesheets, but they're only required to actually submit them towards the end of the year so that we can confirm actual hours worked. Even in our workplace, we have various timesheets. So it's really just that employability standard, especially for this program when we are using public funds to help subsidize these positions. We just want to ensure that there is accountability. So if people are unfamiliar, the KSSEP structure, we fund 80% of the various levels, the educational levels that we spoke about earlier for high school, SAGEP, university, and so on. But really, this just ensures accuracy, compliance, and accountability for that funding structure using those various funds, but also for responsibility both on 3 levels, our part, the employer's part, and on the student's part.
Totally. And we talk about, you're getting those measurements and that accountability. How do we measure the success of KSSEP each year, both for the students and for the community?
Yeah, there's various measures. Obviously, we can start with some basic stats about the number of students that get to participate, the number of employers, the various categories. As we mentioned, we have some of our larger organizations, we have some small businesses, we have some grassroots organizations that also participate. So looking at making sure that we have, various types of employment, various types of positions, various levels of positions, different types of students being integrated in there. But really beyond beyond some of the basic metrics, some of my favorite success that I've seen really comes through stories. So whether it's somebody's first job that they're going to be talking about, for the rest of their life, career clarity. Some people might be kind of unsure about, well, is it this or is it that?
Totally.
Or what's it really like to be working in that field? Building a relationship with an employer that ends up spanning a couple of summers or, making its way into the school year, as well as I know people who used their KSSEP position and the money they earned to buy their first car or take a vacation.
Yeah.
Success goes so far beyond just the simple metrics. And sometimes it isn't instant. It can be years later. Even looking around our office, we still talk sometimes about our first position and how that kind of created that clarity for how we all ended up here together. And then also on the employer's part, there's so much that they can learn from the students and from the youth. We have a number of different positions, mainly in like the marketing, social media part.
Oh, yeah.
And the different ideas that they bring to these businesses that we see year round, and then just this boom in the summer.
Yep.
It's really great to see. And so there's a number of different ways that you can measure success. And I think it's unique to each person who participates and each position that's offered.
I love that. The sentiment of having the impact. And like you're saying, connecting those employers with the students, because even, you mentioned sometimes you need a youngster to run your social media, but even there's jobs like landscaping or helping at the golf courses. And sometimes older employers need younger bodies.
Exactly.
So making these connections, and then those community members are developing these relationships. What are some other complementary programs? Now, you mentioned that, sometimes students build these relationships and that they can then continue on. Do we have complementary programs at Dewa Dunizakta that offer student employability outside of the summer?
So as we mentioned, one of the successful outcomes of the program is those relationships that are developed. And sometimes that leads into staying within Dewa Dunizakta with our MASI program, which is our mentor student intern program. So what that is it's subsidized employment similar to KSSEP, but during the school year on a part-time basis.
Nice.
So for some of those KSSEP university students that are really looking to continue to build those practical skills while being in the classroom throughout the year, it's just another opportunity to connect those two aspects, as well as our transitions program. And that's for graduates, whether they're coming out of KSSEP or university. It can be hard to find a job sometimes. And what this does is offers those same subsidies for them to explore work within their field and potentially lead to full-time employment afterwards. But we do have a ton of other training. So as we mentioned, there's various workshops planned throughout KSSEP in the summer. And, we have our professional advancement and training hub, the PATH program, that's really taken off in this past year. So if students are looking to continue to build, whether it's technical skills, soft skills, there's so much learning or training opportunities within the community and that we offer here throughout Dewa for these people to explore.
And you mentioned, having like the MASI program, mentor, student intern, and continuing. So if students are finding somewhere that they really like to work, then they can continue that throughout the school year and continue developing that relationship. Tyler, Amy, that's kind of something that you've done, isn't that right?
Yes, I started at Dewa last summer for KSSEP. Then I also stayed for MASI for the fall and the winter semester. And it aligns with my degree. So it really helped me get work field experience while being in the classroom, learning about this stuff. So I was able to compare. And yeah, I really enjoy it.
How do you feel it's preparing you for the workforce, and does it complements your coursework as well?
Yeah, it really complements my coursework. My coursework's a lot of teamwork.
Okay.
And counseling skills and like dealing with people, human relations.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing now is all guiding me.
That's awesome. And besides just this success story, Tyler, Amy, you're one of our prime examples. What other kind of feedback do we get from students after their summer placements? Are we following up with them and seeing how things went during the summer? Has there been any stories that maybe stood out?
Usually at the end of the summer, I'll go do like a check-in.
Okay.
And I'll also follow up with some students. And through the MASI program, a lot of them stay on. So I get to talk to them and see how their experience is and how they like it. And one thing that really stands out is many of the students return to their workplace, whether it be for MASI or for KSSEP the following year, especially with KSSEP and university, because it aligns with their degrees and their future career goals. So it shows that these jobs actually lead to long-term opportunities for them.
That's wonderful. Oh, I love to hear that. That's the whole point, right? So now students, they want to participate in the program. How can they sign up?
They could go to dewa.ca/KSSEP and sign up for the program there through the student application form. Or also, they can contact me or Drake for help. And after I confirm their eligibility, I send them a confirmation email that everything's good so they know they could start applying to the jobs.
Sounds like it's going to be a very fun and worthwhile summer this year, always with KSSEP. Thank you for all your hard work you've done for the program. And thanks for sitting with me today.
Thanks for having us. We look forward to all that comes this summer.